All right, and we're live. Let me get my music turned down. Happy Monday, everyone. Let me make sure my audio levels are right. Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome to Mastermind. Welcome back to Mastermind Academy. I hope everyone's doing good tonight. Hey, Opus, how you doing tonight? Hey, Destiny, how you doing tonight? Ooh, hopefully you can probably hear it in my voice a little bit. I'm a bit tired. I just came back from the gym not that long ago, and I might have overworked myself a little bit. So I'm a little bit tired, but I'm sure I'll fight through it. Probably should have grabbed some coffee, but I'll be okay. Definitely be okay. But how's everyone doing tonight? Like I said, I'm a little bit tired, but all good. The time change really helped me out a little bit. Daylight saving time here. If you're not in the United States, they're actually might have messing people up. I probably should change the timer on the. Actually, it says I'm live now. I think it changed. That should be cool. But Opus, appreciate the subscription, Opus. Appreciate the subscription, Antoine. Definitely appreciate it. Tonight's gonna be real chill. Tonight we're just running a retro. Hopefully, if you've been a part of the 12-week bootcamp, the DevOps Bootcamp that we ran, tonight we're gonna be running a retrospective. So we'll talk just a bit about what a retrospective is in a little bit, and then I'll tell you about the framework and how we're gonna run it. And then we're gonna hop into Trello. We're gonna be using Trello tonight, and we're gonna hop in and we're gonna start putting some stuff on the board. The goal of this, what is the goal? The goal is to really get some feedback and have an open conversation about how this went, what you liked about it, what you didn't like, some areas for improvement, some areas for trying things that we haven't tried. But again, the goal, I'm actually running this bootcamp again after the new year. And I'm actually running 2 boot camps after the new year. I was gonna run 3, but I'm just gonna run 2. I'm gonna run an intro to Python 1, which I'm almost finished with now. So that curriculum will go up soon. And I'm gonna rerun this DevOps one. I'm still trying to figure out the days. I will still do Monday and Wednesday for one of them, probably the Python one. So to give a different one for the people who have gone through the DevOps one, to give them an opportunity to do something different, focus on something different. And I want to switch up the days for the DevOps one to give people who were not able to participate in this one during the days that we've been doing it, give them a chance to participate. So I don't really know which days it's going to be yet. I might put out a poll or something, but I'll figure that out. But more information will be coming out about that. But that will begin, I think, the first or second week in January. I think it's January 6th was the date that it is slated for. Monday, January 6th is the date that it'll start. If we start on a Monday, if we start anything on a Sunday, then it will start on the 5th. That's kind of after all the holidays. Everybody should be well rested, got some time off, and ready to go. But cool. Finally moved to KDE, but now I'm missing Aunt Dracula. That's fair. I never really loved KDE. I never really gave KDE a chance. I've been surprisingly attracted to GNOME or GNOME or whatever you want to call it for a long time, even during its weird phase. I also no one liked Unity, but I liked Unity a lot, actually. But I probably won't make the switch to KDE anytime soon. I'm gonna stick with GNOME. I do like something called Budgie Desktop. It's actually pretty simple. I might as well pull it up now. Let's see. Budgie Desktop. It's pretty simple. I like the simplicity of it. But what time is it? It is 8:03. We'll give people their 2 minutes. 8:05 is usually around the time that we get really going. But Budgie is pretty simple. I think there's a few desktops that get it by default. I think there's one called Solus. Yep, I see it right here. Solus Linux. Let's make this a little bit larger. But it's a pretty clean, pretty simple desktop environment, which is pretty cool for sure. Yeah, I'm thinking about trying some new distros. I saw something called like Peppermint, which is supposed to be like super fast. I don't know if it's a Mint, based off of Mint or something. Peppermint Linux. Let's see. This looked okay. I don't know. Even though, like I said, I'm using Pop! OS here. Pop! OS has been really great, especially for my laptop and for running natively on my desktop, because the graphics drivers and stuff come built in. So if you do have a dedicated graphics card, try to get a distro that works well out of the box with a graphics card for sure, because it can be super duper problematic. So there we go. All right, let's get started. We're gonna kind of be going off the cuff here, but what is a retro? So tonight we're gonna be doing this retro. This is a practice that is common. I don't know if it's native to Agile and Scrum or if it came from something else, but on every Agile team I've been on, every Agile Scrum team, you run these ceremonies. So Agile is a way of or Agile Scrum is a way of managing a project. It's hotly used for software projects, for software development projects, and part of it, you have these things called ceremonies, and they all serve different purposes. And what the retrospective is, generally you work in some kind of sprint cycle. So sprints are usually, generally they're 2 weeks worth of work, but it's a 2-week time span. At the beginning, you will choose the work that is going to be done in those 2 weeks. You'll commit to completing some work during that 2-week time frame. You'll do that work over the 2 weeks. And at the end, you'll deliver what you have. And then you'll take some time to talk about what happened during that time. And so it's important to kind of focus just on that 2-week period and to, talk about the things that really focus on the things that you liked and disliked, things that you think could use some improvement, things that if you have any advice or anything you'd like to try in the next sprint, this is the time to get those things out and to talk about those things and to discuss them with your team. This is important for the feedback loop we're talking about. You want to have a pretty fast feedback loop. You want to know what things are working. You want to be able to try things, even if it's not good for your team. So if you're not sure if something's going to be super beneficial for your team, it's okay in a sprint cycle. You try it out. If it works, great. You can keep it and you can implement it permanently, but if not, you can stop doing that thing and you can try something new, or you can modify a process. So, it's a really great time to really get that stuff out. It's a time to kind of be honest and be open. And so we are going to try to do one of those today. I actually am going to do a full Agile Scrum, not one called Bootcamp, but like a little series, probably right after next week. I think we're going to take this Wednesday off, probably Monday, probably next week as well, to kind of just get some things together. I'm working on a lot of stuff for the upcoming boot camps and some other things surrounding Mastermind in general. We'll give everyone a time to relax and keep going on some of the things that you've been learning, and then we'll pick it back up with a few series throughout through the new year. There's a lot of holidays right now, which kind of get a little weird, but we'll try to run through a few series through the new year, and then right after the new year, we'll hop right back up with 2 boot camps all at once. But the general topic, the general way this is run is usually there's some kind of, it's done in a million different ways, but we're going to run ours through Trello. We've done something through Trello before. I don't know what the max number of people you can use in Trello is, but I'll show you an example of kind of what we're going to do. And let's see if we can get logged in here. And let's create a new board. And we're going to call this DevOps Bootcamp Retro. And I'm going to see how many, actually, there's not a ton of people on, so we should be fine to get everyone in if you want to. If not, you can shoot out whatever you'd like in the chat, but we'll do this. And I probably should have made it public. It's no big deal. Create link, copy. Let's put this in here. See if you can join that. Let me know if you guys are having trouble joining it. Make this a little bit bigger. But try to join there if you want. Again, if you don't want to hop in there, if you're on the phone or something, then you can't do it. Put any, once we talk about, I'll tell you what we're going to be talking about, and any feedback you have, put it in the chat, and just let me know which column you want it to go in, and I will get that into the board for you. But we're going to keep it real simple tonight. There's a bunch of ways to run a retrospective, but we're going to do it very simple. And so these are going to be the things. First column is going to be the things that you liked. Whoops. And then in the middle here are going to be things that were not so great. So maybe anything you came across that frustrated you, that you just didn't find to be helpful, that you felt actually be detrimental. Any of those things that weren't so great, you can throw them there. And then here we're just gonna put in some ideas for improvement. So this is anything that kind of falls out of those, maybe things that we didn't do, just ways that you think would be beneficial to future boot camps. Think about people, think about yourself, think about things that would be beneficial to you if you're learning another topic, but also think about ways to improve the current things that we've already gone through that you think will be helpful. So again, you've got the 3 categories here: the things you liked about it, things you really enjoyed, things that weren't so great, and then ideas for improvement. So you can put things like this. So just for some examples, you just click in here, you add a card, and it should allow people, looks like we have at least one other person in here. But for like, you can put something like this. You can say, I can say something real simple, like I like that there were like almost 6,000 chat messages. So I can say something I like were lots of chat happening, whatever. You can put anything like that. So that's something that I liked, that I thought went really well. So I liked or went well. So you can put something like that there. I like chatter. I like chatter a lot better. So chatter. I love it. And so that would be something that I liked. Something that's not so great. Let's say the Docker, the second Docker number 2, the pre-recorded Docker session. So pre-recorded Docker session. It didn't work. I did it completely wrong, and it did not work. And so that was not so great. That's something that did not go well, and something to focus on next time. And then ideas for improvement. Someone said when we go over the cloud part, we can get a smoke machine. So we can say demystifying the cloud or something like that. So again, ideas for improvement, just something fun. It doesn't have to be something fun, but anything that will be beneficial, that you think will be beneficial to the stream. All ideas are welcome. You know, at the end of this, I'm going to try to make some action items out of these. I can't promise that I'm going to implement all of these things, but again, I like the feedback. And I also just want to share with you, you know, just because I think everyone, like you all probably had a different idea of what you wanted to get out of this than I had. So this will be a good chance to kind of align those things. Just to figure out what people were thinking, figure out how, you know, what people liked about it. And again, you're not gonna hurt my feelings. People have given me plenty of feedback, and I'm gonna put some of that feedback here. Actually, all the feedback that I've been given, I actually have all written down already off to the side. I'm gonna try to keep most of that stuff off of here. One interesting one, I like, you'd be surprised at some of the feedback. I really love this stuff because someone gave me a whole write-up on the difference between an orchestrator and a conductor in terms of music. And I was using my examples wrong for what a container orchestrator was. Although I was doing my best to explain it right, I was actually getting it wrong musically. And that was very interesting. I actually learned a lot. I read almost the entire Wikipedia page that I was sent. So if you were the one who sent me that, I didn't respond to you yet, but I do appreciate that. That was really cool. Yeah, I like that. You know, I'm human. You know, we want to make this as accurate as possible. I'll get some things wrong. Let me know. Like, definitely let me know. So cool. So if you're in the board, go ahead and start typing some of the things. We're gonna just take some time. You know, as things stop going on there, I'm gonna add some things. We're gonna take some time, and then we're just gonna run through and talk about them. Talk about all the things. You know, figure out if we want any action items out of them. But again, tonight's it's not going to take 2 hours unless the chatter gets crazy high and we're talking about tons of stuff. But I highly doubt it's going to take 2 hours. But it'll just be a nice little run through here of some of this stuff. So cool, Terraform episode. I'm going to put recorded Docker session, and let's say not having, we only missed, not only, I won't say only, out of 24, there was supposed to be 24, we did 22 out of the 24. We did miss 2. One was for a family emergency, and one was because I was traveling, a late travel actually, and that was the pre-recorded Docker session. Maybe I can just put more plans, just streams. Whoops, I've actually moved that to the wrong card. Let's see. Oh, you gotta hit add card for it to be in there. So Chatter Terraform episode, awesome. I think Chatter was in there. Average numbers. So I will share I'm gonna be sharing some of the metrics and stuff that I've been keeping track of, as well as Twitch that has been keeping track of the numbers over the bootcamp. And so the average numbers were really impressive. Like I did not expect at all for the amount of people who consistently participated to be that high. I knew it got a little press, so I knew the first episode would be higher than the rest. I thought they would be consistently around maybe 15 to 20 people consistently, and I think the average for the entire thing, and this is not counting for the people who watch afterwards, but the live viewership, I think it was almost 40. I think it was like high 30s, which is pretty cool. So that was pretty dope. Let's see. I do not know Twitch. You guys have been great at giving me pointers for sure. I need to take some time to figure out all that Twitch has to offer. Let me add in a couple more. I'm gonna add just a couple more things just on top of my mind, and then we'll start talking through them. And if you want to add more while I'm speaking, feel free to go through and add more. All right, we'll start with this, and I'm sure more will come to my mind as we go through. And again, if anything comes to your mind, feel free to add as much as you like. And actually, I'm gonna go over, let me enable mouse integration so I can use all the features of my sweet mouse devices. Input mouse integration. Click in, all right, cool. Now I can use, I thought I would be able to use my thumb scroll wheel to scroll over, but I will not, so I'll just mouse over, and I'm gonna add one for action items. So this is generally in a sprint retrospective, this is generally how things are gonna, oh no, I don't know what just happened, but there we go. This is generally how things are kind of gonna go. It won't always be these 3 swim lanes. It might be 4, and it might be a different categories. But again, usually there's some kind of format around it for you to be able to extract ideas from, and for you to be able to put your ideas into or categorize your ideas so that you know how to approach them as a team. So this is something that you will see if you're on an agile team at all. But cool. I thought chatter. So usually after everyone gets their ideas down, you usually go through and talk about them, and usually the person who posted it will have an opportunity to speak about it. So if you wrote something here and you want to say a little more about it, feel free to put that in the chat, and I'll try to find the message, and we'll talk about that. But chatter, again, we talked about chatter. I really liked how much chatter there was. There were sessions that had over 600 chat messages, which was pretty impressive. But the consistent chatter back and forth, the questions that were asked, a lot of times I was pretty bad at checking in with the chat, just because I was trying to get through all the content, and people would have answered the questions, and you guys were really helping each other out. And I thought that was really cool. I got to really, I feel like I know a lot of you through the chat now, so it's pretty cool. And I think that is, I would really like this to be a community, and I think that helps. I think when people join and are hopping into this and maybe overwhelmed at first or not know what they're getting themselves into, I think seeing people have these conversations, and not always just about the technical things. I think there was a lot of times where people ventured off into, joking around and stuff like that. I love that. Like, I think that's perfect. I think that's great. And I think that is how, that's kind of how it should be. I think that's one of the things that happens, when it's really hard to stay engaged for 2 straight hours. Period. And I think that's something that you don't get to do in a classroom. You don't get to kind of have that fun, but because this is recorded and because you can kind of go back and catch up on the things that you missed, I think it's more important to get, be a part of the experience. You pick up a lot that way. So I really, really, really like the chatter there, and I appreciate that. The Terraform episode, it looks like someone else, I did not put this here, but it looks like someone else said more Terraform. I agree. That is actually on my personal action items. Some of the technology I found out through this process, what technologies I think are bigger ones to spend more time on and to spend more focused, thoughtful time on, better examples, better like labs per se. So I'm actually going to be setting up some very, I'm going to try to set up some thoughtful labs around some of the more specific technologies. Again, more around Docker, more around Kubernetes, more around Terraform as well. And I'm going to really try to incorporate whatever cloud we decide to be using at the time. I'm really going to try to incorporate that more into all of the stuff because it'll be the underlying thing that backs all of it. So yeah, definitely the Terraform. We'd love to see more Terraform too. Excellent. Examples weren't standard practices. Awesome. I'll put that actually, let's see. Copy that and let's put that into a card as well. All right, and then we just talked about average numbers a little bit. Again, the average numbers for this were far exceeded my expectations. And yeah, I appreciate everyone for coming back. Hopefully I'm hoping that's a testament to the content and that the content is helpful. Although, I would like you to stick around because you like me, or that you like the people that you're speaking with in the chat. I would love people to be sticking around because of the content and that they're getting something out of it. So I'm hoping that's the case. And I hope that when we get to after we get through this and kind of revamp and kind of make everything a little bit better, hopefully we can just keep building upon that, and kind of adding in new sections. Just so you all know, the goal is actually to be able to, I won't be doing all of it, but to really figure out a way to do this for a lot of different things, in the tech industry. Again, like design, there's a lot of, not even like graphic design. So graphic design is one of the tracks, but maybe, design thinking, human-centered design, things like that, testing, there's a lot of avenues in tech that I want to be able to tackle. And I'm working on being able to tackle because I definitely don't know it all. And so having other people to learn from and having other people who can participate is definitely something that I'm looking forward to in the future. So if it's something you're interested in, reach out to me. I'm open. If it's something you want to do, let me know. The Slack group, yes. So the Slack group was like the Slack group, I'm actually very impressed about, one, the amount of people that joined, and two, the participation in there as well. I've been neglecting the Slack group. For not on purpose, but for very specific reasons for now. The Slack group will actually be a much bigger piece of the second tier bootcamp, and everyone will get access to it. So not just subscribers. I didn't really hold people to that this time anyway, but the Slack group will be a much more integral part of the experience. I'm actually trying to build some things, some integrations between Twitch and Slack, specifically one, and actually I'll just put it in here because we can talk about it later, but quizzes. I found some cool things. Let's move this back over here. Found some cool ideas. Pop quiz is one of them, and Slack is going to be a much more integral part of the second time we run through this stuff, and all future boot camps, if things work out pretty well with that. Shug is a moderator. I don't know if you're on tonight, Shug, but Shug asked, he's like, hey, I can help out with some of this stuff. Let me moderate. I know how to use Slackbot or the chatbot or whatever, Nightbot. And I don't know, he hopped in. I think he really helped out a lot. I really think he was engaging. I think he helped out some of that chatter that I enjoyed. But yeah, if Shug's on here, or if you ever come across Shug on any other streams, give him a quick thank you. I appreciate his help. That helped me a lot. If anyone else wants to moderate, let me know. I am completely open to all that, for sure. Again, because I put it over here, but I didn't even know about all this moderation stuff. I probably should have learned a little more about Twitch, but I really like the platform, and I'm gonna figure out how to use it in a lot of different ways. The folks that were more familiar called out problems when examples weren't standard practices. I really I didn't put this. Someone put this? Was it Tara? Tara, you put this up. Perfect. I agree with you 1000%. This was super helpful. I loved running through. So one of the problems when you're running through tech is that, one, there may be technologies you've only used in a single way, and those are things that you remember. And also, there are things that change about tech over time that you may not have the opportunity to implement or to participate in. So you don't always know. There's sometimes when you just forget that the way you're using something is non-standard, or there are, like the examples that you're giving aren't necessarily great. But yeah, I did appreciate when people were stepping in and clarifying on points that like maybe I didn't explain perfectly, or that I threw out information that wasn't standard practice. I noticed that absolutely, and then stuff like that actually made me much more comfortable running through this stuff. I was actually really nervous through the first few streams because like worried about getting things right, worried about all that stuff. I'm way less worried now because one, I know that, internet, someone's always gonna be there to tell you you're wrong. And I actually like that. I like knowing that if I say something crazy, I won't leave you hanging because someone will likely pick up the slack. I'm always gonna do my best to have the correct information. But again, sometimes you get it wrong. And I like that you guys are willing to hop in and don't feel like you're, in a classroom setting, you might feel like you're overriding the teacher or stepping on the teacher's toes. Hop in, correct when I will absolutely admit when I'm wrong, or even if I don't know I'm wrong, I'll Google it right here. We got Google right here. I'll look it up. So yeah, I think that is really, really good. Also we have a few more. Let me see if there are any other before I put in there. I saw your post on Twitter. Can you do a Golang one after Python? That's a great question. We'll talk about that in a second too. And that's why you don't have, so why don't you have a Discord? We'll talk about that in a second as well. We'll talk about both of those things. Let's get through the like to win well first. The Q&A panel and interview episodes are really helpful for me. So I've been getting tons of feedback from that. And I really loved the feedback from it. I think people, because it was real, there was real engineers and it was just kind of an open forum. I think I'm definitely gonna do more of those. One I'm gonna do with better audio. We did not test well beforehand. I think it turned out okay for how little we should have planned a little more around it. It could have been better. And I think that getting that form right, being able to consistently bring in people and have a way to really engage with them, I think is going to be powerful on here for all kinds of industries. I think we'll do this more and more often, different types of topics, but also more like that with completely different engineers. Again, more backgrounds, all that stuff. So yes, I really liked it as well. I was surprised at how well it went. But we will that is one of my number one focuses, is to have other people on the stream at least more, be a little more conversational, have some there's definitely some experts that I've come across in some specific areas that I think could provide some immense value that might co-host some of these for me. But yeah, so that was really dope. I'm glad you enjoyed that. I think that's all we have for this. Like to went well. I actually think a lot more went well than just this. I don't know. I think the flow was good. I think that I'm going to modify the curriculum a bit. I'm going to switch around some of the tools, but more of that will come out. I'm actually going to release an entire action items list. Before I actually change anything, I'm going to synthesize all this information, put it with the information that I already have, and I'm actually going to release an entire list of things. So I'm going to release it in Slack and on social media, a link to it on social media. So if you're not following me on social media, follow me on social media. Everything is at Mastermind.io, same as this channel name on Twitch. But I will be releasing that before the week is out for sure. All the things that I'm going to be working towards before the new year, and just kind of all the things you can expect in later things. And you'll see some of that stuff start to happen slowly. Like I said, I'm going to be running a few little series and workshops and one-off streams between now and the new year. But you'll see some of that stuff during that time. Focusing on concepts as we start was very, very good. Dope. Yes. I felt bad that I forgot that I had pulled away from saying that. The goal is I wanted people to focus on the concepts. rather than, the individual technologies or learning, really what we were doing at the time, like how to implement things. The concepts are more important, and I'm going to try to harp on that a lot more, especially for the DevOps one, for the intro DevOps one. I'm actually planning a much more advanced DevOps one that is also 12 weeks. And that will be much more in depth. And the goal in the intro is to get the concepts. The goal in the advanced is to start to feel what it's like to implement these things in a serious way. So hopefully we will be able to cover those things. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna keep focused on the concepts, and I'm glad that you got something out of that, Opus. I appreciate it. All right, so before we get to the not so great, we probably should have covered the not so great first, and then went to the. Usually you want to go from bad to better, but like that's fine. We'll go over that, and then we'll go for ideas for improvement. But let's go over these 2 questions that were in here. So over the weekend, I posted. I posted on Twitter. I'm building out the Python Bootcamp right now. And I already had some ideas for it. I've been building it out for a while actually, but I got serious about putting the rest of it together. I kind of already had the general outline of things I wanted to cover, but now I'm working on taking feedback from this and knowing how this one went. Implementing some things, figuring out how I want to do some things. I actually think that the Python one's gonna be a lot easier because we're focusing on one thing, and we can go a little bit deeper. And I think it'll be a little bit easier than it was to hop around with stuff on the DevOps one. But while going through it, it's been a while since I've done a lot with Python, and just hopping back, deeper and deeper into Python, because I've just been diving deeper and deeper so that I know more and more. So when we're going through it, I'll be able to answer questions with more knowledge. But I don't like it as much as I like Golang. I've been doing a lot of Golang work lately. I just really prefer Golang. I'm in this weird mindset where like Golang kind of just they give you Golang, they give you the standard library, and they're saying, hey, you can solve all your problems. The idea is that you can solve all your problems with this. You don't need to go out and get a bunch of packages and things like that, external packages and custom things to do fancy stuff. Like, just do what you have here. And I've gotten into that mindset. So one, I do not know Python. Well, I didn't remember Python's standard library as much as I know Go's. I never learned it quite as much. So knowing what you can do in Python, because Python has been it's so much more mature. It makes me feel like I'm using JavaScript, and that it seems that there are a lot of ways to do similar things, even though I think Python's original ethos was just, there's one way to do things, and you can do it this way. But I think Python has kind of evolved from that a little bit. I don't know. And I just some of the looseness, I kind of like the bounds that Golang puts around you. I kind of like its strict typing, and I don't know, the rules. I kind of like the rules that surround me. I think they keep me safe. And it was just a jarring switch back for some reason. I don't know why it was so jarring, but it was pretty jarring. I'm still very proficient with it, but it was just a very jarring move back. So I don't know. I don't know. But and you guys, can I do a Golang one after Python? Yeah, absolutely. I will absolutely put together a Golang one. And it'll probably follow. It'll be very much based off of the intro to Python one. I've already started the second and third stream of this bootcamp. We're coding and using Golang as a language. I think they could be running a very similar format, even though Go has, some extra rules. They definitely have their differences. So I'm actually building this bootcamp kind of in a modular way so that I can pull some things from here and there. But yes, I will be running, there's for sure, I will be running a Golang one sometime, definitely sometime for sure. And then why don't I have a Discord? So I went back and forth when I started this about whether or not to use a Slack or a Discord channel. For anyone who doesn't know what Discord is, I'm using Twitch here. It will make sense that I will use Discord. Discord is a gaming chat platform. It also provides voice chat as well as text chat, but it's similar to Slack. It's got channels and things now, but again, it's very gamer focused, and you can also create free communities there. The only reason that I chose Slack is because the goal of this is to have people get more adjusted to the tech industry, and Slack is the king of the the engineering communications workflow. So I just wanted people to get familiar with the tools that they would likely be seeing on the job. I highly doubt anyone will ever see Discord on the job, but we honestly could have a Discord too, but I don't know. I'll see. I think that might be a little confusing to people, but yeah, the reason we're using Slack and not Discord is just because of what you'll see when you're actually working in tech. Since a lot of people are trying to get into tech, I wanted to use the tool that they would see every day. I'd love to see that as a bootcamp too. Resume, job. Job finding, interview skills. I like that. I don't think it would need to be quite as long, but yes, that is a great one. I'm gonna copy this and put this in ideas for improvement. I think that is a great series. Maybe something like that might be a good one for maybe a 4-week series, kind of deep dive into resume build, building your resume, finding jobs, interviewing skills. Maybe we can do a real maybe the same way that we did the engineering panel. Maybe we can bring in a real, someone who really interviews, and maybe run through a couple of real interviews, not just what kind of interview questions you might get. Have someone come put me or someone else through a genuine real interview might be pretty cool. I think that's a great idea. I like that in ideas for improvement. Sure. And technical, I forgot to get technical interview questions. Let's copy that. I really like that a lot. I will definitely be working on that. I can understand why you're not double dipping on Slack and Discord. If you ever want Discord server, I'd be happy to help. Awesome. Yeah, I will reach out to you for sure about that. Definitely. I think it'll be interesting. I think what would be very interesting about Discord, use of Discord, is that people would be able to hop into. I don't know what max number of voice connections they allow in these chat rooms, but I know you can kind of hop into a group chat for voice, and that might be pretty interesting to do, to ask questions during a live stream. I think that might be a pretty interesting option, and I'm always looking to figure out how technology solves some of these problems and can provide a little more of this interactivity. So that is a great idea, and I'm actually going to put a card here for Discord as well, so I don't forget. Cool. All right, so let's go over to the not so great and just talk about some of these things. And again, I've got a lot of many more not so greats than this. Again, because the goal is to be as for me at least, to be as introspective as possible. But really, I really want to make I want this to be good. If people are gonna be using this, and I want it to be a great experience for people, and two, again, I just want to make it as good of an experience as possible. If you're gonna be taking your time out to kind of learn this stuff, I want to make sure it is as beneficial for you as possible. So let's talk about the things that are not so great. One, pre-recorded Docker session. I got that all the way wrong. I did not take the time to understand how Twitch handled pre-recorded sessions, and I'm very sorry about that. And I'm sorry about the communication around how that was going to work. I actually assumed it was going to work until I went to go check at 8:10 if it was running well, because I was actually at a happy hour or something at the conference that I went to, and to find out nothing was working. And when I started troubleshooting, I realized I did not do that properly at all. Should have tested it beforehand. That won't happen again. I one, figured out how you can do pre-recorded sessions, and two, I'm putting a framework around situations specifically like this and kind of how we can dive into that. I wish that the sections could be in separate videos when on YouTube. I guess whoever wrote this, what do you mean the sections could be in separate videos when on YouTube? I'm not sure what you mean by that. So either put it in the link here, add a little more to it, or put it in the chat. We can talk about that in a little bit. Because the YouTubes follow the actual streams, how they are. So kind of by tool or service. So let me know what you mean by different sections, and maybe there's a way we can figure out how to do something like that. Poor plans for missed streams. Again, things do come up, but I think I 100% think there can be ways to, one, improve communication around misstreams, and two, to provide something else to do. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a stream, but again, there are other forms of I have resources for these things, and how to do makeup streams and to figure out how things like that work. Again, I'm creating frameworks around that. So the second time around, this will not be a problem in the same way that it was this time as well. The Google Classroom, it looks like Bedwar, you said the same thing. Yeah, Google Classroom was a huge problem for me. That did not go well for me at all. I originally had a lot of problems. I had a lot of problems first getting people who were not. One, there was just a weird setting, not a weird setting. There was a setting in there that didn't allow people who were not a part of the mastermind, who didn't have a mastermind email address to join. But it didn't give people a clear answer why they couldn't join. So I think that's Google's problem first. So it started with that. And then I ran into some limitations that I didn't know about. So I actually had a bunch of people join to test. And then I ran into these like weird caps and limits because something I hadn't changed, and then I had to like work with Google. And so Google Classroom was a problem. And then once I got people in, I actually had a lot of issues using the formats for the homeworks and things that I submitted. I really should have thought about it beforehand. I wrote a lot of the homeworks and stuff in Microsoft Word, and they had a lot of formatting. And I don't know why I did that, to be honest. I should have thought about that. I know that Google Docs and Word have some compatibility issues, but there was some weird stuff when I was trying to just stick them in there. I could have just added them as attachments, but it was really weird. And like it got to be with all the other things that I was working on at the same time, it got to be really time consuming. So that was bad. That was really bad. There are homeworks. There are like, not even just, I don't want to call them homeworks, but there are extra practices. There are labs. There are projects that I had as a part of this that I think would have really added to the experience. But not having enough time to really administer Google Classroom either was a problem, and a lot of that had to do with other things that were outside of this, that are outside of the stream that I'm also mitigating for the next go around. So I'll have a lot more time to focus on this stuff during the next time. But yes, Google Classroom will actually be the main, like that'll be like the forefront of it'll like be the face of the stream. Like I almost wanted the stream to feel like, like the Google Classroom is the mastermind bootcamp and the stream is just a part of it. But yeah, the Google Classroom will have this stuff next time. It'll have access to the slides. It'll actually have access to the slides before the stream even starts, so that you can follow along. If you want to follow along, locally, you'll have access to the slides before the stream even starts. I'm setting all that up to be done. Like there's ways to automate all that, to like set everything up beforehand, and things will unlock automatically and send out emails and stuff. So again, learning experience. I'm really sorry that didn't go as well as I wanted it to go. Yeah, I really apologize for that, but I promise you, I've done the work to make sure that this is not an issue second time around. I think you guys are going to be surprised at like how much more polished the stream is, or how much more polished the program is the second time around, for sure. I'm actually really excited for you to see it. And then the last one I have here is I don't know Twitch. So I've been messing around with Twitch for a little while, like watching Twitch, but I didn't realize all of the level of interactivity Twitch had to offer, and the amount of things you can do, one, to engage with the audience, and to give the audience information. So I found out about the chat commands. So I use chat commands, but I didn't always keep those up to date. But like learning about just, raiding, and like somebody was raiding the channel and brought a bunch of people. I didn't even know what that was. I thought it was very interesting, but just like Twitch has actually so many different things that you can do. And exploring those to figure out how to make this better is something that I've been doing for the past like week or so. But I'm gonna put some serious time into just seeing what Twitch has to offer to see how I can incorporate that into the stream for value, not for distractions. Like you guys see a lot of streamers, or when people subscribe or people follow, stuff pops up on the screen. I don't want to detract from the. I'm trying not to ever detract from the learning experience. You know, it can be really jarring. You know, something flashing on screen. You know, it can be very jarring and pull you out of your thinking. So that's why you don't see all the wild stuff popping up on screen. But there's some good ways to interact and to make this more fun. The goal is to have fun. Like I think the next run through will be more fun. Make it a little bit more of a production. I have a little more fun with it. I think it's going to be pretty cool. But yeah, that was all I was gonna say with I don't know Twitch. Let's see, Opus. We also have a job, so missing a stream I think is okay. Just need to make up content that's needed for a program to work. I agree. Thanks, and thank you for understanding. Everyone was very understanding with the stuff when I have to miss stuff, but I appreciate that. I'm reviewing the streams. What about putting class projects on Mastermind? Yeah, I should do that. I could definitely do that. Let me just put all this over here so when I'm synthesizing this, I want to make sure I have everything. Cool. Let's see. Oh, let me see. Let me go back to this one. YouTube uploads for days when more than one topic is discussed, indicating the time that each topic began. And the description box is difficult sometimes to remember where I left off. Perfect. Yes, I will absolutely do that. This is good. I'm actually gonna put this because you basically gave me the what are those things called? You gave me the action items here. I really appreciate that. Yes, I see this done a lot. Taking the time to, I've kind of automated this task as well. Before I had to like manually do this stuff. I didn't know you could actually set up some automated editing features as well as like upload schedules. So there's definitely ways to do this. There's also ways to, while I'm streaming, to like highlight different times during the stream, or like note different times during the stream. I have the little stream deck over here when I'm switching to a new topic or something, and that will actually give me the timestamps for when things are changing. So that I can definitely incorporate that into the YouTube videos. I think that would be super helpful. Maybe I will take some time. Yeah, hopefully I can make some time to go back and annotate those things for the ones that are there now. One thing I will say for anyone watching, and let anyone know who you pass this to, these, as of right now, this may change, but as of right now, the boot camp that's up there now will only stay up until the next boot camp. And then it will change. And that's for a few, it'll change when I run the same boot camp, the same exact boot camp again. For two reasons. One, I don't want people getting confused when I start uploading new ones on which ones to watch. And because I'm updating things after each one, I want to make sure people are getting the most up-to-date information. If I'm using a tool that's more relevant, something like that, that's part of the reason why I'm doing it. And I also want to encourage people to watch the boot camps. Again, the YouTube platform is for a few different things, and I learned how to make the stream stay on Twitch for longer. So I might not even I don't know what I'm gonna do with that yet, but that is a good idea for the YouTube uploads. I will see if I can go back and annotate those things for the right time. Let's see. Wanted some help with a web project and doing, oh yeah, yes. Anyone came forward to do that. I didn't even get an opportunity to present that. And what I will do, I'm almost ready to present that. I did not present it, so no one came forward, but I do think people would be interested in working on that because I think it's a great open source project, something that you can add yourself as a contributor to. I haven't even gotten to work on it in a while, but it was really close to being ready. But I'll share it before it's ready. Maybe I'll just hold, that's very interesting. Maybe maybe one day I'll be sitting around. I'll probably go live just so it'll be here. Again, you don't got to tune in. Hopefully you see the message. I'll tweet it out and stuff, but I'll make sure it stays up for more than 14 days, and you can go ahead and watch through just so I can show you like how the application works, what my intended goals were with it, and ways and kind of the structure on how you can participate. Maybe I'll do that. I think that's actually a really good idea. That's a great idea. I definitely want to get that out. I definitely want to get that out. That's part of one of the things I want to get out before the start of the next bootcamp, because I actually want people to be able to start building these learning paths before or like during the same time. So that's yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. Let me just copy that as well. You guys are keeping me honest here. I forgot to even talked about that. We had an Azure cloud portion in the future bootcamp. Yeah, I don't know if I'll include it in the future DevOps Bootcamp, because again, the DevOps one is just it's mostly for the concepts. I'm going to be doing, for sure next year, I will be doing an Azure, both in Amazon and in Azure, like bootcamp, like for both of those things. Next year will be a lot of content, like a whole lot of content. I've kind of figured out like running through this, how I can do it, how I can deliver it, and how other people can help me do it. But there will be both in Azure for sure, and in Amazon AWS specific bootcamp that will dive pretty deep into the services and the differences between them and things like that. I'm not sure that I will change the DevOps one to Azure just because I'm not sure there's a substantial benefit, but maybe after I teach the Azure specific one, I'll probably do that alongside some other thing. Maybe I'll switch it around every so often, but yeah, Azure will be included as a lot of stuff. Azure is a technology that I think a lot of people can benefit in learning now. Again, not quite as big as Amazon, but definitely getting there. And there's a lot of jobs for it right now. Unless your partner, you guys are only going to stay up to a month. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right. I am not partner. Mostly because I think I could get there. I don't think I stream enough for one, but I think that will change after the new year when I'm doing 2 boot camps at once. I think that there will be enough stream hours. Then I just got to get my numbers up a bit, so they can stay. I think they stay for 60 days if you are a partner. But yeah, so they'll still be going on YouTube, and I will make sure to annotate. But I think I can use some Twitch tools to be able to help me annotate those videos. Maybe is annotate the right word? I don't think annotate's the right word. Whatever. Yes, put those timestamps. I'll put those timestamps in the YouTube videos. I think that is a great one. I think that'll help people out a lot. Cool. So that is the not so great. And then let's go back over our ideas for improving. Smoke machine. Again, that thing is pretty cool. Just I think this is a larger one than just a smoke machine. Just, I don't know, props, not crazy prop, but like just things that can add to the ambiance of the stream. Again, I want it to be an experience, things that are fun, that'll make it fun for you guys and myself. So just throwing something out there. Whoever threw out the smoke machine, thank you for that. That sounds like a good idea. I might get one. It might be a single use thing, but might be a little bit fun. I like the idea of using Vim sometimes, but you said early on that we'll be using Visual Studio Code. I agree we should use Visual Studio Code, as you said, because you have speed using Vim when explaining concepts. I don't know if you could set up a sheet that allows us to make sure we can move one screen really at a time with you. For example, I have never used Vim, so still behind on this. Okay, yes. Now, the Vim one, yes. I went back and forth about whether or not I was going to use Vim or going to use Visual Studio Code. This is a great one. I actually think, well, yes, this is. I think for the time being, I think for the next bootcamp, I'm probably just going to incorporate both of them. I'm gonna be very strategic about how I use them and why I'm using them. I also found a keylogger for both things. So as I'm doing things, you can see what I'm typing, because in Vim, I think that's very important. And then it'll be a little banner at the bottom that I think will help. help with Vim. But I do. That was one of the tough things. I did want to get you all exposed to Vim. I really want to get you all exposed to Vim. Yes, but again, it's a high learning curve. So for people following along, I know it was tough. I'm going to think about how to strategically use Vim next time, what things to use it for. Yes, and I'll be conscious of of what I'm doing with Vim, just because I have a lot of muscle memory with Vim. So I will try to make sure I'm conscious about what I'm doing with it, so that I'm not just doing random stuff and people don't know what's happening. I think that's valuable feedback there. Trying to figure out how to make that work and make the distinction. Yes. Yeah. I like that. Let's see here. It looks like a work stick. This game helped me learn some of the basics of Vim. Oh yeah, Vim Adventure. You guys shared that with me when we did that. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, Vim. It definitely has it's got its challenges, but it is a pretty cool text editor, and you can move pretty quickly with it. But yeah, I'll take that into account for sure. A project that we can complete at the end will be cool. Yes. I fully intended, when I first ever even was like, all right, I want to run a boot camp. I fully intended to make the entire thing project based. That was a very daunting task for how much time I gave myself before the bootcamp started. I set a date for the bootcamp because that means you have to act. And because of I think I just assumed, because I'm a DevOps engineer and I touch these technologies every day, I would just be able to run through a lot of this stuff like it was nothing. And it'll be super easy, and I'll be able to put together a thoughtful project that we could run throughout the whole time. And that did not work. As I got into it, I was like, oh no, I'll never finish this. So that is 100% going to be the goal. So the Python one is completely project based. We will be building throughout the whole thing. We will be building projects, and we'll be building one overarching project throughout the entire thing. The DevOps one's a little harder for us to. DevOps one's only harder for I might have to change the order of the way of what we learned, what we learned and when we learned it, to make some of it make sense, which I can do, no big deal. But yes, especially a DevOps project is the most important, because it adds so much context behind the tools and adds so much context behind the concepts. And I think that would have been very valuable. And I just didn't have time this first time to really think about one. I think something we can go through the whole time, and the project at the end is going to be valuable. So yes, a project we can complete. And I have a few ideas for what a DevOps project would look like. And it'd actually be interesting. I'll share some of that. I'll be interested in hearing some feedback on. If you're not in the Slack, join the Slack. Whoever asked that or whoever posted that. I'm gonna be interested in some feedback on what kind of projects people think are best. I had with the meetup that I'm with. We had a very long discussion. We were getting into beginner web development stuff about what the first project should be, and there was a lot of strong debate over whether or not it was going to be one thing or another, and it was very interesting. So I'll be interested to see what other people think, especially after learning what you know about DevOps now, what you thought would be cool with that. Pop quizzes. I put pop quizzes on here. We will absolutely. I've been figuring out how I can use my Stream Deck in more ways, because I think it's a powerful tool for this. Again, being able to, when I use it, orchestrate. It has nothing to do with music, but orchestrate what's going on with the stream. But I found ways to be able to deliver pop quizzes automatically in Slack, and with a link, one in Slack and with a link to that goes into the chat here, that will allow you to go out to a quiz that is in either Google, Google has a quiz thing, or there's a few chat applications that I may be able to use instead. But this, pop quizzes, I think, during the time, just like little fun quizzes, a little time to take a little mental break, and to have a little conversation. And maybe that's a good time to also, allow me to hop into the chat and do some things. It's a good break, but it gives people a time to like, ask some interesting questions and to really think about what they just consumed and like really think about it. And I think pop quizzes are going to be cool for that. We talked about the bootcamp for the resume, job finding, interview questions, technical skills. Thank you. Definitely we'll be implementing that, figuring out how to implement that. Possible Discord, we talked about that as well. What about putting class projects on Mastermind? We talked about that a little bit as well. Projects for sure are projects are like my number 2 thing on my list of must-haves for this next iteration. Project-based learning, for me at least, is much better, and I think it would be a lot easier to run through these things. I think the concepts will stick a little better once we get to some of that stuff. YouTube video stuff, we talked about that, and then we also talked about the web app. So actually, I don't know if I did talk to everyone about the web app. So there's this thing called Cerebro that I'm building. It's not that great. But what it is so actually the actual Academy site, so academy.mastermind.io, is actually going to be moving. It's actually going to be moving. We're going to be moving away from this to a more traditional site. I know we talked about this looking like documentation, but the information for this is actually going to exist on a different style landing page. But the Academy curriculums, curriculums will remain on the other site. But this flow will become something called Cerebro. And what Cerebro will do, and because of this Hugo theme, it'll allow us to build out some learning tracks. So again, as we go through Python or we go through DevOps or something like that, or if anyone wants to make a machine learning track or something like that, it'll allow us to easily be able to throw some text file for anyone to throw some text files into a GitHub repo, Markdown or text. You can throw in Markdown if you know Markdown, or you can just throw in a text file, and basically it'll just be like, hey, here's the title, here's the name of the course, set up, the different pages that you're going to want in the course, and then you'll be able to add one of 3 things. You'll have a section for a video, so being able to find a YouTube video that explains the topic you're talking about. If we're on Python and we're on tuples, I might have a section called tuples, and then find a YouTube video, and that'll be here available for you if you're someone who learns through video. That'll say tuples and run through that for you, and then underneath we can have some links to official documentation and maybe some other resources and things like that. But it's just going to be a pretty it's going to be a community driven like learning platform, that runs through courses, in an ordered fashion. I think it's going to be cool. I think it's going to be something fun to kind of build out, but I want to change up a lot about it. I've kind of got the way the back end's going to be. Actually, this is not the, it's called Cerebro. I guess I didn't push the actual code to this GitHub repo, but yeah, right now it's a JavaScript app. Opening a discussion about that. It's a Node app. Right now, I just did it because I did a Node because I was just sitting there one day writing some JavaScript, so I just wrote it in Node. But yeah, I can go through that a little more. Like I think that needs its own little stream to like give people some instructions on how to do it. I have a good README for it, but I think it will be interesting for people who aren't familiar with this workflow to be able to hop into and to participate, because I do want anyone to be able to participate in that. So that'd be, something pretty fun to do. And every time there's a new, PR, it'll auto build and we'll have a new thing on the site. So pretty easy to set up. And I think that's everything. Yeah, that is everything. So if anyone has anything else, feel free to throw it in there. Definitely feel free to throw it in there. I'm gonna stay on for a little bit longer. We're only at 9 o'clock. This is great. This is excellent. We all get a little bit of time back. I love the pop quiz idea. It'll be similar to the DevOps interview questions. They'll be very specific to what we're learning. there'll be two types of pop quizzes. There'll be some that are that are focused on what we just learned or what we're learning today, and then there'll be pop quizzes that cover everything, that cover any topic from what we've learned now to the very beginning. So there will be two different types as of right now. If anyone has the ideas for anything else, let me know. But yeah, there'll be all kinds of things that are interview question related as well in there. There'll be all kinds of stuff in the pop quizzes. And again, go through, answer them. Don't sweat failing them. Like, I know people stress about things like that, but it's also, you know, I think it'll also help with just kind of, I think the types, I'm hoping I can ask the types of questions that will help you think about, again, think conceptually more than the very specifics of each technology. I think it'll be pretty helpful. Or it's on Hugo Graph, so if you're moving away from it, that's more learning for me. No, I'm not moving away from Hugo Graph. I am not. I have a little back-end processing thing so that people don't have to put in so that people don't have to write Markdown, even though Markdown is easy to write. I want anyone to be able to contribute to it. So if anyone is interested, I've got some interesting methods for data input. Yeah, I was actually gonna also just write like a simple front end for people who just want to be able to log into something and like literally fill out like a CMS type thing. Like, here's the title of my course, and here's the first video that's in it. Here's the first section, second section, and that goes through an approval process. So I was considering that as well. And so again, I think we should have a stream around this, have bigger conversations around it. I want this to be community driven. It's not yes, I'm starting it, but it's not. It's the communities, and I just think it'll be an interesting exercise in having people curate the information that's on the web. Like, again, all the information is already here. It's out there. Like, there's articles, there's documentation, there's videos, but knowing the order in which to watch them in to make it make sense, knowing, you know, which videos are not crap. Like, I think all that is very important, and I think it'll be an interesting process to see if we can start a community that is able to curate these learning courses. I think it'll be interesting. I think it'll be fun as well. But yeah, that is, so WYSIWYG backend with them, but I've never implemented one. Yeah, I don't want to do a WYSIWYG backend. I don't want to do a WYSIWYG backend. I want the information. I basically want to give people access to be able to put in the information, but I want them to have zero ability to style it or anything like that. Yes, the content only. We want to be able to put in the content with, and I would like to do it without running a CMS. I've actually found some I prototyped this a bit with something called Strappy, which is a pretty good headless CMS. But then I found the Hugo Graph theme, and I was like, this is actually exactly what I need. AWS actually has, let me see if I can find it. AWS, they have like a Kubernetes course like built on the graph theme. And I was like, oh yes, this is perfect. Kubernetes tutorial. Let me see if I can find EKSworkshop.com. This feels like it. Yeah, so this is, you can see here, this looks very similar to what the Mastermind website looks like. And what it has a ton of stuff here, and the way that you can push through it is very interesting. And this is documentation, but the amount of the depth into this is great. Actually, if anyone is looking to learn Kubernetes, and specifically Kubernetes on AWS, this is a cool site. Found out about this. I think it's a cool site, but my goal is to actually have it built into, so instead of like introduction, start the workshop, it'll be like introduction to Python. Underneath introduction to Python, it'll be the whole course will be here, and you can run through the entire course and have everything you need in the order in which you need it. Yeah, with videos, with everything, again, because the videos have been made. Like, I thought a million times, I was like, oh, should I make a course? Should I do this? Nah, I don't need to make a course. They're already out here. But what can we put together? You know, can we make some learning tracks out of what already exists. And again, right now it is set up to be able to put in information for the 3 different ways people like to learn. So through video, through reading, so documentation and articles and blogs, and there will also be a section for audio for podcasts or audiobooks that pertain to that subject as well. So you'll be able to put all those things. All the pages will have a similar structure, but yeah, the goal is to be able to do something like this, but for people to be able to build out whatever it is that they want to build out. And the Grav theme has some search functionality built in, but you can extend it. And I think the search functionality is powerful when you need to find something very specific. So yes, that's the goal. That's high level what I wanted to start as. I actually wanted to be a lot more, get a lot more in depth. I would actually really like it to become an application similar to like Linux Academy or something, where like you log in and it can track your progress. But I think we can build off. I think we can start here, and I think we can build off of it. Even though we're using we're using this Hugo paradigm, I think there are interesting ways to be able to build that out. And yeah, again, future endeavors. I think you got to think pretty big to have some fun. I think it'll be something that'll be fun to work on, watch it grow. It'll be cool. It'll definitely be cool. But thank you all for your honesty, 2 for your there's a lot of kind words. There was a lot of ideas here that were very actionable, and that's the goal of something like this, is to have actionable things out of this. I'm going to synthesize this, put together my action plan, and I'm going to share it. I want to be very transparent with this, what we're doing, what I want to do with it. So I'll put it out there. It also gives me some accountability to make sure I'm getting the things done that I say I want done. So next time I'm running a boot camp, and I said, you heard me this time say Google Classroom is going to be very important. It's going to be of utmost importance for what we're doing. And you see that I haven't done anything with Google Classroom. Hold me accountable. Say, hey Aaron, you said Google Classroom was what you're doing. Why aren't you doing anything with it? And that is what retrospectives are for, is to get better. And honestly, usually this is for your team, is to hold each other accountable, and to work hard and to make things. It's not to just point fingers, but it is to become better all around. So definitely keep me accountable to that. I personally don't like the Hugo Grab learn search functionality. Yes. I agree. I saw, and I don't know if you can, but I saw an article that said you could use a search tool. I think Elasticsearch is a little heavy for this, but I thought I saw that you could use a tool. You could implement a tool with this that you could use for search purposes. Maybe not. We'll see. If not, I think there's some magic we can do. I really do think there's some magic we can do. Maybe. If not, it is a statically generated site. If there's not some magic we can do, then we'll figure something else out for sure. But yeah, I think it's a good starting place. Or we can just go ahead and build something from scratch. There are a lot of services like Amazon Cognito where we can get the stuff that I envision right out of the box, and we can get set up the authentication, and maybe there's another framework or something that's already built to be able to build stuff out that we can start with. But yeah, I'll check that out. That may be worth something. What is your motivation in all this? I'm curious. One, my motivation. Okay, all right. We're gonna get a little personal here. This is I like this. My motivation for one is I was offered to be in a business cohort by the company that I currently work for, Fearless. They're starting up a business cohort. More information just came out about it. It's called Hutch, actually. It was the first cohort they're running. And I was interested in going through it because I knew one day that I wanted to start a business, didn't know what it was yet. And I really respect the owner of the company, Delali. Really smart dude. And I didn't want to pass up on the opportunity to be able to get that information. So I applied with no idea. And then I needed an I got in, but I needed an idea. He talked to me what I was passionate about. I said, man, I love technology. That's why I I'm part of these organizations, some of the organizations I'm with. Like, I just really want to get the word out about tech. I want to be able to, I really like teaching people tech, and showing them how it can change their lives. And he was like, "We'll do that. Like, that's what your business is. Like, do that." So I started for that. So that was one motivation, is just that, one, to be a part of this cohort, I needed to do something. And this is actually something I enjoy, like something I'm very passionate about, is teaching technology and giving people access to technology. And the second motivation, honestly, is to, so the personal piece of this is, you hear me say Linux Academy a lot. Linux Academy actually came out with a job posting for a part-time DevOps course architect. And it was right before I started all this. And I was like, perfect. Like, that actually sounds like I was born for that. Like, I would love to help architect a DevOps course. Like, I love this stuff, and great. I put out my resume. They like give me a call back immediately. Want to set up something. I didn't want to leave my job at all, so I was like, "This is perfect. Part time, great." I took the interview, and I thought the interview went amazing. Like, I really thought I killed the interview. I thought I killed it. Like, I did kill it. I didn't think I killed that interview. It was 2 people. It was with the VP of engineering or something like that, and someone else from the company. And I thought it went really well. That went really well. And I got a rejection email, like, real fast, like super duper fast. And it was weird. Like it was weird. I'm okay with that. I'm really fine with that. But I asked for feedback, and the feedback that I got was not, it wasn't valuable at all. It was just kind of like, you're just not a fit here. And that really isn't a knock on the company. It's really not a knock on the company, but the feedback was frustrating, because I really thought that I could provide some value. I really thought I could provide some value there, to be honest, because I had done a lot of their DevOps courses, and I thought there were some things that were to be desired from them. But I guess part of my motivation is that I guess that process also showed me that that everything isn't for everyone, and there are a lot of Linux academies out right now. There are a lot of organizations like Linux Academy who will teach you this stuff, but I think they do it in a way that doesn't work for a lot of people, for a lot of reasons. One, cost. To some people, to a lot of us, $40 a month isn't a crazy idea, but for a lot of people, that's completely unattainable. I think the way that they implement them, the way that they go about them, I think the barrier for entry is a little high. I don't know, and it doesn't really work for everyone. So being able to scale, being able to more easily scale a training platform. And again, the goal of this, I keep saying this was an experiment, because the goal is to make it a training platform, to make it scalable. And if, with the least amount of overhead you have, I'm not running this on my own servers. We're running this through Twitch, and we're using Slack, and we're using other things. It makes my overhead is like super tiny, so it makes it feasible for a single person or a few people to be able to really do this with a lot of people, to scale this up, to be able to answer questions, to be able to interact with a ton of people at once. And I think that's an interesting model that doesn't just work for the tech industry, but that can work for all methods of education. And that's honestly, that's my motivation, just to see if the idea can spread, that we can change the way that we kind of educate and get information to people. And again, even if this is not the answer, even if it sparks something else, I know it sounds weird, but that's my motivation, all because Linux Academy didn't give me a job. I don't know. I think it's an interesting problem that I would love to be able to solve. I think technology, I say all the time, technology it can be the great equalizer that I think it was intended to be, but I think we have to actively find ways to make it so. Everyone can't be great, but I think you can give everyone the option to be great. And again, with tech, you can do it. So I don't know. This is it's deeper than just. It's a little deep for me, but yeah, that's my motivation behind it. And to build a business. I've always wanted to work for myself. So the goal is to also make this a viable business model. There's some other pieces to Mastermind that aren't just this stream. But yeah, to also make it a viable business model, that's absolutely part of the thing that motivates me. I don't want to trick you into thinking, hey, I'm just out here for the fun of it. I am. That is a part of it. That is not the only reason I'm here. I do want to run a business. I would like for this to be something sustainable for myself and for my life as well. But yeah. So that was a good question. Easy to make a little API that handles search for small output. Yeah, absolutely. We're just reading about that today. Oh yeah. There was I was on a podcast. I'm actually going to share it on social media. If you're not following me on social media, that's where I'll say everything. Most stuff is on Twitter or Instagram. Follow me on there. But I'll share a podcast. I was on a podcast. I was on a podcast that it just released today. It was the first time I've ever done a podcast. I was a little nervous, but it was great. Got to talk about a lot of this stuff, a little bit more of my motivations, just kind of, I don't know, what life is like for me as an engineer, and what my goals are for Mastermind. So if you want to hear that, I'll definitely be sharing that as well. But yeah, go react. The blessing in disguise thing. I 100% agree with that. Definitely 100% agree. I didn't realize how passionate I was about tech education. Okay, this is good. I don't mean to take shots at people, but like there's a lot of grant money available to teach people technology for nonprofits. I'm not a nonprofit. I don't have any grant money, but the problem is there's tons of people out here who mean well, who are teaching people skills, who are using that money to teach people skills that aren't marketable. And I get it. I get it. You work with what you have. There's a lot of if you want to get an A+ cert, you should never have to pay for it, because there's a million organizations out here who will help you get an A+ cert. And again, that's not valuable. I think that the way the tech industry is moving, I think there are deeper. I think we need to be a little more ambitious with our technical training. And I just don't see anyone doing that. I don't see anyone providing that without you having to drop $17,000 for a boot camp. I'm not seeing that. And how we're gonna, how does the world fill its engineering problem, like this gap that we have in engineering? The skills gap is just growing wider, but no one. I don't know. I don't see a lot of options, without having to either drop a ton of money or a ton of time that you don't have, that most people don't have, to be able to get into this stuff. I don't know. I hope that this is again spark some interest. I genuinely hope people like Linux Academy see this and are intrigued by it, and can use their resources to also share with the world. Hopefully maybe one day I'll get enough business here, that I get enough viewership to light a fire into them to not charge $50 for per month for all of their content, and to give some of it away, or make it a little bit cheaper. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But again, like I said, this is not the only piece of Mastermind, but I will be trying to grow this academy piece. It is called an academy for a reason. Again, the goal is to build courses, not there will be multiple courses, not focus on one thing. It's called an academy because I want to be open to the idea that we can add just about anything. If you have someone who wants to teach it, who's good, who wants to teach it, because we can get to just about everyone. There will be people who will want to watch, and who will be ready to learn those things. And again, no overhead means that you can make this a feasible business model for the money can be, the cost can be transferred to the monetization models of Twitch, rather than the user, the person learning. Person learning doesn't need to spend, thousands of dollars. They can spend at the most I'll ever ask you to spend is $5 a month. But really you don't even have to do that. And there's monetization models like ads, like sponsorships, like, subscription revenues on Twitch that can make it feasible for something like this to work. Yeah. maybe you can get AWS GCP as your sponsor of your classes. Yes, yes, that is the goal. That's also something I'm working on for next time, is for one of these big players. I'm working my connections right now, but I would like to have some, even if it's not monetary, I would love to have some AWS credits or some Azure credits to be able to not only share with you guys, for you to be able to play and have a little fun. I would love to be able to give away Azure credits and AWS credits for you to be able to just explore and play, but also for us to be able to like do very cool things with, so I don't have to pay, tons of money out of my pocket to be able to do some cool stuff. But yes, I'm working on that right now. One thing I do promise is that I will not ever, this isn't about like, this is not, even though I want this to be a viable business model, this isn't a money grab. So I'm not just going to be taking random, sponsors, and, we're not going to be doing the $5 shave club and all that stuff. Won't be doing that. I will only be taking sponsors who, preferably whose tools we can use to teach people technical concepts on here. So again, if you're watching, GitHub, Circle CI, Microsoft, all you big players out there, that is, we want you to help us be able to spread more of this and to be able to add more value to the stream. But yeah, working on that right now. Like I said, the numbers are actually quite impressive for the first run. And I think that we'll be able to find some sponsorship for the next for the bootcamp specifically. But yeah, Node.js, I'm assuming that you're just asking if we're going to learn Node.js. So I don't want to give you a definitive yes, but I do want to run web development's a huge topic. I do not want to teach web development, to be 100% honest with you. I could, but I do not want to teach web development. I'm waiting to find, whenever it's feasible to find, whenever I can find someone who is excited about this and is going to be dedicated enough to, it's a big ask to ask someone to do 12 weeks of a bootcamp, or however long we decide to make it. We will do that. But yes, Node will be a part of, whenever we do web development, Node will be absolutely be a part of it. And I can almost guarantee you there will be more information about specifically a web development bootcamp, both a beginner and intermediate one. There'll be more information about that early in 2020, very early in 2020. There'll be more information about what to expect and the timeline for that, because I think that is one of the bigger ones that people want and that people are interested in. So yeah, that's about it for that. But yes, thanks for letting me rant a little bit. Thanks for genuinely, I feel like you guys are asking genuinely thoughtful questions and giving me information that is super beneficial. I appreciate that thoughtfulness. Like I really do appreciate like the help, the assistance, like all these everything we talked about is very valuable, and I appreciate that. Again, none of this is done without you all. You guys have helped me this entire thing. I felt like I had a great time during this first one, but I feel like I'm just happy that it feels like our boot camp. Like it feels like we were able to run through this together. We were able to make changes. We were able to teach each other. I called it out a couple times, and those weren't the only times. But I learned a lot of tools. I learned a lot of tips and tricks and tidbits from you all that I use on a daily basis now. So I really love that relationship. So thank you. Just again, thank you very much. One thing that I did not talk about is so Wednesday, not streaming Wednesday or all of next week. Taking a quick little break. Or all of next week, I'll be putting that out. But there will be some, because I'm not streaming, there will be more interaction, both on social media and in the Slack. Just some cool things that I've come across that are just some cool stuff. Just keep an eye out. Have fun with that. But again, and then I'll be back right after that. So what is the date of that? So not this Wednesday or next week. So the week right before Thanksgiving, the 18th. So the 18th. I don't know which day Thanksgiving is, but the goal is for the 18th, 20th, the 25th, and the 27th. So those 2 weeks. So 2 weeks. The goal is for that to be the Agile Scrum project management week. So we'll be running through Agile Scrum. We'll be talking about the entire methodology itself, all the different pieces of it. But we'll also be working through how that works in a development project, and like what that looks like as a developer, what that looks like as someone who's not the Scrum Master, someone who's not running the stuff day in and day out for the project. Like, what does this look like for you? I think this is pretty valuable. I didn't realize how much. I never realized how little people know about Agile, and how confusing it can be to people for some reason. I don't think it's that confusing, but I've seen people have asked me a lot of interesting questions about it that were amazing questions. And so I'm interested to see if I hopefully I think I can demystify a little bit of it, and kind of put it into context. Like, all of it makes more sense when it's in context. And I learned it in the context of a development contract. So maybe that is why it was never that confusing to me. And maybe it would have really been confusing to learn it outside of that. So that's going to be the goal again. So the week of the 18th is when we'll start that. I'll put out messages regarding that. So you should see that stuff soon. And again, if you can't hop on the streams, it will be available on YouTube as well. But that is it for tonight. Just an hour and a half, get a half an hour back. Thank you so much for joining. And I will see you in a week, 2 weeks. I guess that's 2 weeks. Yeah, I'll see you in 2 weeks. Hopefully you'll hop back on and have a little fun with Agile and Scrum. But like I said, even though we're not streaming, hit me up on Twitter, hit me up on Instagram, whatever. I'm around. I'm gonna still be working all this stuff and interacting. So, yep, I'll see you guys online. Have a good night.